Horizon Gents, welcome to UX, and this is Tech Bros Invented Trains Again. Is this by Elon Musk? I don't know. This is by channel Adam Something. I remember watching a Dubai video from Adam Something, which was really a good video. I think it was a unique video because I haven't seen similar videos like that, and it really blew up at the time. I remember for multiple million views very fast because it was a unique video. So Adam makes unique videos like that. It's just like different things happening around the world. So I'm guessing somebody did something with some trains. Is this Apple train? Some shit like that. It's gonna be interesting. Let's watch it.
This is the Monocab, a two-wheeled, gyroscopic, autonomous, battery-powered rail pod balancing itself on a single rail. According to its creators, the Monocab is a high-tech, flexible, individualized mode of sustainable rail transportation that can breathe new life into closed-down branch lines. Do you live near one of those branch lines and want to travel somewhere? Just open the app.
Oh my god, so they're trying to run two things in just one track in each side. I mean, I like the stability of two things. Like, okay, sure, this can be done, but I don't know, man. Okay, this is transportation thing, I'm guessing, or like, does it carry people?
App and order one of the rail pods, and they will whisk you to your destination in a cabin slightly wider than a coffin, all while balancing itself on a single rail using their built-in gyroscopes. Why on a single rail? Indeed, why? So that two pods can pass each other even on a single track, bringing much-needed capacity to these deserted branch lines no one uses. Okay, so why is this idea the height of idiocy, and what should we build instead? Let's take a look.
See, the problem with whenever you hear of theorists like physicists and things, right? Basically, they are the frontier when it comes to any kind of science grade. But there is a real divide between theorists/scientists and engineers, right? Engineers thinks of the real world issues and try to find solution, while scientists don't have to do that, and they don't do that. So this feels like some scientist came with something like, oh, I can balance it with gyroscope. Surely I see no problem. What about if some cow or something slams into it? What about some real weather issues, right? There are many engineering issues that you have to overcome. What about the maintenance? What if this wears out the track really faster? So I don't balancing in one side with a gyroscope feels like trying to over engineering something. Then they have to. You don't need to do this shit. This is too complicated. It will cause issues.
Monocab is marketing itself basically as an Uber on rails. Just go to your local closed down branch line, open the app, call a pod, and then wait half an hour until your painfully slow rolling coffin shows up to you. And this
is so stupid. Uber drops you at your home. This will drop you at a train station. Only reason trains are good because they're efficient. They don't need to worry about congestion because they're train, and you can load a lot of shit up because it's a train. That's what train is. You load a lot of things behind, like insane amount of carriages behind. That is why train is train, and train is really good. But that's about it. This where you just have to drive around two people. Driverless cars are better than this. They will drop you at your home.
The whole idea is a result of two major failures, one on a systemic level and one on an individual level. We'll talk about the systemic failure in a moment. As far as the individual level is concerned, it is extremely clear to me that the people who came up with the Monocab have absolutely no idea how public transit works, and least of all how trains work. Look, these are trains. These are also trains, plush trains, my plush trains, which are on sale now for a limited time. Get your own American GG1 or Hungarian V63 locomotive plushies now for just $29.99. You can also get matching passenger cars for each locomotive for only $18.99. You can use them as ornaments, pillows, or tools to discipline your pets. And of course, you support the channel with each purchase. To get the plushies, go to plushio.com/collections/AdamSomething, which you will also find in the description. Thank you for your kind attention. Okay, so the Monocab. As painfully stupid this whole thing is, the underlying idea is quite noble. You want to find a way to restore rail service on abandoned branch lines. And you want to do that because trains are a great form of transportation. They are efficient, scalable, fast, high capacity, and the technology needed to create a functioning service can be very simple. For example, Switzerland's first electrified line was inaugurated in 1899. We know how to build efficient, high-capacity, environmentally friendly rail. We've been doing it for 1.25.
Yeah, I mean, like that's been the case like for a long time, right? Electric vehicles were like a earlier thing than the combustion engine, but petrol just become that thing. Like, okay, let's do it, and certain business and lobbying thing led to okay, we have petrol cars more than electric, which is changing now, obviously. Even where I live, like okay, electric cars are becoming more and more. I'm surprised, like holy shit, like I see at least out of like 4 cars, at least 1 or 2 of them are electric. Like okay, goddamn, didn't know that. But yeah, this train thing is just like makes sense if there are multiple cabins behind it because you can lug things around at one time in mass. Makes sense. That's what trains are trained, right? This feels like that Top Gear episode. Just remember that Top Gear episode where they did the train thing with a car. Clarkson had the Jaguar, that he just like sports lorry. That's what he called it, which was open and just you can just fit 1 or 2 people there. And those other 2 idiots did the train thing, how a train should be. This is basically that. I think Dick Clarkson came with that. Okay, Monocab. I'm sure that makes sense. Why not?
Centuries. But then tech bros are like, yeah, that's cool and all. Epic, 420, Marvel, all that. But what if we took such a system and made it worse in pretty much every way? Why? Because it needs to travel on a single rail, so that pods can pass each other. So you can operate a single track line as a double track line at the low price of forcing passengers into mobile coffins. But why do you need the flexibility and capacity of a double track line on these low traffic single track branch lines? Because they're tech bros, that's why. By that I mean they can only imagine the system as an individualized one. You don't have schedules. You have an app because of course you do, and you call a train with the app because of course you do, and travel to your destination very slowly in a battery-powered autonomous pod because of course you do. So how about we try to improve this system together? See if we can solve the many issues plaguing it. First off, we need to get rid of the individualized mass transit concept. What if we had this thing called a schedule, meaning that vehicles will run at predetermined times, enabling us to plan ahead so that 2 trains will never meet each other on a single track section. Great, so now the trains can have at least 4 wheels and can therefore use both rails. So we can get rid of all those moving parts in the form of a goddamn spinning gyroscope right under the passenger compartment. Also, we can now make the train cars wider.
By the way, this is stupid in itself. However you say it, it doesn't matter. It still relies on tracks. Doesn't matter if you just use one side of it. What if there is let's just say this becomes like an Uber or people use it a lot and it's based on how you order it, right? What if you like call a cab comes, it sees the track is clear and I can come there, okay, it comes, right? You load up your luggage, maybe waste a bit of time, maybe sit there, whatever congestion level shit. There's another cab behind it which is gonna have to stop now because it's on the fucking same track. This is not like the road where you can just like overtake. Cabs make sense on the road, not on the train, especially if it's not bound to time, where you can just order it based on your app. This is insanity. This will cause insane amount of congestion. You say like, okay, if it becomes big enough, but if it doesn't become big enough and not enough people use it, this is waste of time anyway. Because it's mostly like, tracks are being used. Right? Maintaining tracks cost a lot of money compared to how you maintain a road. So it has to have a lot of things, a lot of people there. And again, a lot of people cause this congestion issue. This is just stupid. This is like, what if cabs, but much worse? It won't put you at the exact location you want. It will put you where the track will lead you. It won't get you home. It won't get you to your office. Right? And it's like worse of all kinds. Why do this shit?
Than a coffin. So, kinda like a regular fucking train. So there we go, we solved the problem. Let's just build a train, right? Well, unfortunately that's not happening, due to the aforementioned systemic failure when it comes to these projects. So this whole monocab line would operate between the German city of Kleve and the Dutch city of Nijmegen. The monocab is an attempt to link 2 cities across the border with transit. Currently, your only option is to take...
Of course it's the Germans. When I said like over engineer shit, I was about to say like how Germany do, but I just didn't. But yeah, Germany is basically has been the engineering hub for like centuries, even before the world wars. It still kinda is like engineering. I don't want to say engineering hub, but it's known for its engineering, right? Germany. But it also has issue over engineering, right? I still remember certain of my friends had like Mercedes S classes a few decades ago, right? And like all the issues it had, like I remember like just small sensor goes haywire, they had to go to fucking service center and like take apart shit just to figure out what the hell is happening. Nowadays like computers gotten big enough, like like analytic enough, they are your issue can tell you exactly where the issue is. But back then that wasn't the case. So people were actually afraid of BMWs and Mercedes. Even though great cars, a simple thing can go off and that's it. Your car won't start. Like what the fuck is even that? Basically over engineering the shit out of everything. Now obviously there is a like upside to this. Most technology that comes into cars right now usually comes from Mercedes S classes. That's how it's been for decades now. But yeah, it's over engineering is always like one of those like frontier thing. Like yeah, it works, it's great, and people implement it. But a lot of times shit like this also will arise, where like okay, Monocab from Germany, of course it is.
A bus, which takes almost an hour, compared to driving, which takes 23 minutes. So the Monocab wants to use the former rail line between these two cities to connect them once again. Both Kleve and Nijmegen have an active rail connection, but the link between them is missing. On the German side, it's interrupted by a parking lot right after Kleve station, and in Nijmegen, the old line converges with the existing double-track main line, but is abandoned completely. And this is the big systemic issue. Our political leaders would rather waste taxpayers' money on some bullshit autonomous, battery-powered, app-controlled gyroscopic tachcoffin rather than to invest money into real transit, like restoring the Kleve-Nijmegen rail line by electrifying it and running a fast, convenient rail service that could compete with individual motor traffic. However,
Dude, just take bullet trains from Japan. Even India is doing it, right? Like bullet trains are insanely good, right? You can even run them at small distances. It will. There is you need to ask, if I'm going to do this and not take my car, so why am I doing it? There has to be a question like that. If you can't answer that, your invention is stupid, which basically this is. When it comes to bullet train, it is insanely fast. Why take that? Because I'll get there much faster. And it's a bullet train, it's a proper train where many people can fit there. Okay, I want to go from this city to this city. How long will it take? I don't know, 2 hours if I drive it. 20 minutes if I take a bullet train. Yeah, I'm going to take bullet train. That's why bullet trains exist in Japan in the first place. People just like, they literally give you like a, like free ticket later if they arrive 10 minutes later. That's the level of accuracy they are working with there, right? So just take bullet trains. Like bullet trains like one of those inventions from Japan. The world can adapt slowly. If India can do it, other countries can definitely do it, especially developed worlds, right? And you have a certain version of developed, bullet trains everywhere in Europe and things. A bullet train is just like that next level thing. Like, if people take it, you don't need shit like this. Why do this feels like a gimmick. Oh, look at that. It's like going to like some kind of a tour or visiting a place or hiking a mountain. It's a thing you did. Did you had to do it? No, but it's like fun and it will get old very fast. You're not going to use this for a long time, are you?
there is a plot twist. The German regional government is actually very interested in restoring the rail line. So are the locals in Kleve, which is the German side. The problem is with the Dutch side, where residents of one town, Groesbeck, do not want to hear it. They don't want any trains running there because the city already got built out around the tracks and it would disturb the French flair of the town's new central area, which is especially frustrating since
What is with you Europeans, man? This is seriously a fucking issue. You come into progression, like you deliberately halt progression in the name of like, I don't want to disturb the look of the place. My eyes don't need to be strained by looking at something. There is an element to that. You don't want to look like you're from cyberpunk universe where you're just congested everywhere. I understand that. But there's a limit to that shit. Like sometimes you for practicality, you need to let that shit go. Like this shit, like I saw, Clarkson's farm. You realize in Britain how big this regulation issue is. After that, I understood what Americans were all about. Like, okay, don't let federal government into your shit. Keep government away type of mentality. I understand that now. Before I'm like, what are you American talking about? This is what they were talking about. You can't even do anything in your own fucking land because certain regulation that has nothing to do with any practicality is just there to annoy you. You can't cut that hedge there. Oh, it's about natural lands. Shut the fuck up. It's my land, my hedge. Cutting that hedge will not change anything. Shit like, oh, I can't build a train. Yeah, it will solve a lot of issues. It's not going to make it look ugly or something. Come on. If you preserve this, what is this, like Burj Khalifa from Dubai? Like preserving this, what you going to get in the end? It's not like people are gonna just like flock to it. Oh, look at that. This is the eighth wonder of the world type of shit. There's like extremes in both sides. You need to be in the middle of it, man.
Right after Groesbeck, there is the existing Dutch main line to which the line from Kleve could connect, thereby restoring the link to Nijmegen. Groesbeck is the only Dutch town on this rail line, and it's blocking the entire project. So when it comes to the Monocab, tech bros are the least of our worries.
Can't you like turn around somehow? Like fuck it. I know it's gonna be annoying, but at least project will like ask people around and try to turn it around, right? It might be an issue, it might add to the time, it's a wasteful diversion, at least it will go forward.
The state of transit here is first off due to the 1990s neoliberal mania of closing local rail lines, misguided allocation of public grants, and local NIMBYism. But the situation is not hopeless. I can definitely see some sort of tram train service that could appease the NIMBYs and still provide reasonable speed and quality. Tram trains are, well, what the name says. Inside cities they act like trams, outside cities they act like trains. The Stadler Citylink is a great example. It's basically a heavy-duty tram, capable of a 100 km/h top speed on regular, heavy rail tracks. So if you want to restore service between Kleve and Nijmegen, do not look to monorail, gyroscopic, battery-powered, app-controlled coffin pods. Just build a fucking tram train, or get a regular train in plush version. You can go to Groesbeck and keep hitting the NIMBYs with them until they change their mind. Building or restoring a transit line between cities is difficult, it's a pain in the ass, and it's very much needed. But as always, tech bros and their fever dreams will not get us out of this mess. Time, money, hard negotiations, and creativity will, like the aforementioned tram train solution. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, usually, like at least this is my hope. Usually, when emergence happens, when shit is like smoke dust outs, right? After a certain time, usually the idea that comes up is like commonsensical one, because most people are not morons. And when most people hear all sides, they only cling on to things that make sense. So yeah, things arises a lot. It's like that lightning video, right? Like you see slow motion of lightning, like there are, positive? Yeah. Positive currents rise up from the ground and multiple of them. But only one of them will connect to the negative one, and that's the fucking lightning. That type of thing. Things will rise up, right? The monorail, this and that, all the stupid shit, all the regulation will get in. But eventually things will only, not the best idea probably, but one of the best idea at least will cling on to it. Like, okay, we are doing this. At least that's how the world has been working for a long time. Who knows, right? I guess certain things can make people into morons. We're getting at a level where people are so inundated with everything, they don't want to pay attention to anything. So negligence could be one of those things where people just don't pay attention to shit, and morons around the world where like wrong things get implemented. Who the fuck knows? But yeah. Right, well, I'll see you next time.